homestead on 3.5 acres in Pennsylvania. Today is a gorgeous day. It's quite breezy and the sun is just beautiful after a beautiful couple days of rain, which we so needed. I'm gonna sit outside and I'm gonna take care of the elderberries that I have been stashing like a squirrel in the freezer. And I do this every single year in August. I will cut the elderberries and put them in big garbage bags or Walmart bags, and I put them in the freezer, and they're taking up quite a bit of room. And so every time I need something in the freezer, I have to move them, and then they're starting to get little holes in them and the little elderberries just fall off. But I'm going to show you how I do this and why I do it this way, why I harvest my elderberries this way. It is so much easier, especially now that we have a lot of elderberries on the farm. We planted 3 about 7 years ago. 2 produce very heavily. We don't know why the middle one does, because there's no male and female. And maybe it just doesn't have enough room. I don't know. But we have plenty with those 2. But we have a lot of random elderberry plants that just pop up. And I don't know what variety we got, but we got them from Stark Brothers, like I said, 7 years ago. I will leave the link to where you can get those. Fall is the perfect time to plant. Spring and fall is when you want to plant. And so if you're thinking about putting anything on your homestead that's going to take a couple years to produce, do it now. So elderberries are one of those things. We got our first harvest after about 3 or 4 years, and now we have an abundance. And let me show you what they look like here on the East Coast. So this is just one of the random ones that popped up, and we tried to cut it back and it just kept growing and growing. So we said, all right, you stay here. Elderberries are known as the grand elder of the garden, the guardian, the protector, and they bring so much value to our homestead, actually to our bodies, and in the fall and winter months. So if you could see, this little guy got away from me, and I'm not going to put him in the freezer because we have so many. So I'll leave this for the birds, but let me pull this down for you guys. The berries are a really dark purple. They start out green, and even the stems are green, but as they ripen, the stems turn dark purple, and so do the berries, and you know that's when they're ready to be picked. Here's what the leaves look like if you're foraging out in the wilds of Pennsylvania or northeast states. This is what they look like out in the wild. These are the first 3 that we planted 7 years ago, and they get massive. So make sure you have enough space where you're planting them. We do not prune or trim them back, and they produce abundantly every year, except for that middle one, that one right there that I said just has never produced. Okay, so that's all I can fit right now. I have more in another freezer in a big garbage bag. If you're using garbage bags, make sure they are unscented. So the reason that we process them this way is because the first year that we harvested elderberries, I sat on the porch with my little ones all next to me with a fork in my hand, because that's what I found on the internet. That's how they said that you're supposed to harvest your elderberries. Take a fork and pick all those berries off those little tiny stems. And that's why we have so many random ones right now, because they've all popped up all along our front porch. We pulled them out. The ones that kind of came up all over the farm are probably because birds eat them and poop them out, and then that's the cycle of life, right? And so, well, that cycle of life. And so I was like, there has to be a better way. And I was sharing this with my friend of how I was picking off all my elderberries. And at that time, we probably had maybe maybe one of those bags full, maybe like a bowl full, and it still took a long time. She was like, oh, no. You put them in a bag and you put them in the freezer and you shake them When they're fully frozen and you have them all harvested, because they all come in at different times, and it takes about a month for me to get them all collected. And as you see, there's still stragglers out there, some ones that just are really late at ripening. And so from like August until probably the beginning of September, we're kind of mid-September right now, I am harvesting elderberries probably once a week and putting them in the freezer. And now that I have them all, I'm gonna take those bags, I'm gonna shake, 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 and dump them all into a cooler, and then pick off the remaining stems. There's going to be a few. Your hands are gonna get really cold, and I'm gonna work fast because they're gonna start to thaw. And so once they're all in that cooler, then I'm gonna scoop them into quart-sized bags and freeze them so that we can use them in the wintertime to make elderberry syrup. And if you watched my video just a couple weeks ago, I was sharing how we harvest goji berries. And so I'm gonna put those goji berries, I have them in the freezer, I'm gonna put some goji berries with my elderberries to make my syrup, and I'll post that recipe below. I don't have goji berries included in that because that's something completely new that I'm gonna do, because that's something that's new on our homestead. Just add a half a cup, a quarter cup. You're just gonna add the antioxidant properties and just elevate it a little bit. Dump one bag into your cooler. Then from there, pick out all of the stems from this bag. Then put your next bag in and do the same thing. Because if you're just dumping them all in the cooler at one time, your hands are gonna get so cold from just digging and finding all of those stems. So one bag at a time, pull all the stems out, then you can go through and see if there's any more underneath. Still have some berries on, so I'll pull them off or shake them on the side of the cooler. So I don't worry too much about the little tiny stems. As you can see, they're all over my hands. They're quite impossible to get all off. I get the majority of the leaves, the larger stems, and I let the rest. People say, well, isn't that poisonous? Well, elderberries are poisonous in general. We have to boil all those toxins out when we make syrup, or in the past I have made tincture where I just soak the berries in vodka if I pick them fresh. So no, I do not worry about them. We have about the poisonous nature of it. You are taking the tiniest little bit, and again, you're boiling all those toxins out when you are making syrup. And while we're on the topic of toxicity, I also have moms that are like, I'm scared to plant them because I don't want my kids to eat the elderberries. Well, here's the thing, elderberries don't taste good at all. They are bitter. My kids have eaten a few here and there, and they stop eating them because they don't taste good. They're not sweet like a blueberry or a raspberry. They're tart and bitter, and so most likely your kids aren't even gonna want to eat them. Okay, so like I said earlier, make sure you have everything you need before you start because you have to work fast. So I have just a basket to put all the trash in. This is our slop bucket, so I'm not gonna get all the berries. I'm gonna show this to you. I'm not gonna get all the berries off those stems, so that's gonna go to the chickens. If you don't have chickens, put it in your compost bin or out for the birds. I make sure I have bags, scissors, a cup, and a marker to label my bags because I do have elderberries from last season yet, and I wanna make sure that I use those first and then use up the elderberries from this season. It's probably really windy right here. I put about 5 cups in a quart bag, and I will use this whole quart bag when I go to make my elderberry syrup. because one of my recipes calls for just a little bit over a cup of fresh berries. I don't dehydrate them. That would take way too much time, and I just use them fresh, frozen. And so if you like your syrup to be a little bit thicker, add less water and simmer a little bit longer. This is going to be a little bit different if you made elderberry syrup with dehydrated elderberries, because these still have a lot of moisture in them, obviously. So again, if you want it more syrupy, add a little less water. Mine turns out to be a little bit more like juice. So if the topic of growing your own food, growing your own medicine, becoming a little bit more self-sufficient really piques your interest, and you're here for that reason, I would love to offer you something that I get to be part of from September 16th to September 25th. It is called an off-grid bundle, and it is available, again, just for 10 days, but there's over 140 e-courses on how to grow your own food, how to make elderberry syrup, how to make sourdough bread, how to make your own wild medicine, natural beauty, gardening, homeschooling, home birthing, how to make money on your homestead. I mean, there is something for everyone in this bundle, and it's worth over $6,000 combined. If you were to go to every person's website that is contributing to this, you would be spending at least $50 per course. The entire bundle is $50. I'm going to leave the link right down below here so that you can go ahead, check into it, see if it's something that is for you. If it's not, I just wanted to offer it to you. If it is and you have questions, feel free to message me and I would be happy to walk you through what this course looks like. You can download each course, video courses, ebooks up to 3 times on different devices. The recipes and the guidebooks are incredible and offer so much value. Even I am like diving into how to make an Airbnb business on your farm. What are parasites and how do you cleanse from parasites? So whether you are brand new into homesteading, or if you're living in the city and you're dreaming of homesteading, or if you've been doing this for 20 plus years, there is something for everyone. So again, I'll leave that link below. If you have questions, please message me. You guys are a blessing and I'm so glad that you are here, and I hope that our content and our videos can add value to your life. So I'll see you guys next time. Have a beautiful weekend.